Imagine a world where money moves faster than the eye can see, where trillions are borrowed, lent, and transferred every day. In today's global economy, debt is no longer a simple concept. We often think of debt as something straightforward. You borrow, pay interest, and repay. But on a global scale, debt behaves like a living organism, constantly growing, changing shape, and sometimes disappearing from view entirely. Every day, governments, corporations, and banks engage in transactions worth billions, often without the public ever realizing it. Bonds are issued to fund infrastructure. Corporations borrow to expand. All these movements form the veins of our financial system. Yet not all debt is accounted for. Some debts are deliberately hidden, some are embedded in complex instruments, and some simply vanish. Analysts have identified a staggering mystery, a $1 trillion anomaly, debt that exists in reality but remains untraceable. To understand why this matters, consider this. $1 trillion exceeds the annual GDP of most nations. If it were a country, it would be among the largest economies in the world. Yet, this debt flows through the system as if invisible. How does such a massive sum escape notice? The answer lies in the complexity and opacity of modern finance. Governments may use accounting loopholes to hide obligations. Corporations may shift liabilities off their balance sheets. Financial institutions create derivatives, contracts whose true obligations can be nearly impossible to trace. Each of these methods masks the scale of actual debt, leaving the system exposed. History offers us some very clear clues. During the 2008 financial crisis, trillions in mortgage-linked derivatives hid underlying risks. Few understood the true exposure. The crisis hit, causing banks to collapse and markets to spiral. The $1 trillion anomaly could be lurking in similar instruments today. Shadow banking systems also play a role. Unlike traditional banks, shadow banks operate without full regulatory oversight. They lend, invest, and trade using complex structures. When problems arise, hidden obligations can cascade through the system, this impacting global financial stability. Understanding this invisible layer of debt is crucial for everyone concerned about the economy. Hidden debt influences interest rates, inflation, job markets, and even government spending. Ignorance is expensive. Debt is not a singular entity. On the global stage, it takes multiple forms, each with its own risks and methods of concealment. Sovereign debt. Governments issue bonds to fund projects. While mostly documented, some hide obligations through off-balance sheet entities. Greece's early 2000s debt manipulation is a cautionary tale, contributing to a crisis when hidden liabilities surfaced. This is just the beginning of the mystery. Next, we'll dive into how corporations and even households are tied into this $1 trillion anomaly. Welcome back. In Part 1, we saw the scale of the mystery. Now, let's look closer at where this debt actually hides, starting with the corporate world. Corporate debt. Companies borrow to grow, acquire other firms, or stabilize operations. Many also use off-balance sheet arrangements to mask obligations. These hidden debts may only emerge years later, often during earnings disclosures or audits, causing sudden shocks to investors. Then there's household debt. Mortgages, credit cards, and personal loans form a significant portion of what we owe globally. While relatively transparent, household debt is indirectly affected by corporate and government obligations through interest rates and economic cycles. Shadow debt is perhaps the most mysterious. It exists in unofficial or lightly regulated sectors, secret loans, and derivative contracts. The $1 trillion anomaly is not a single debt. It's a patchwork of hidden liabilities across all these categories, designed to reduce scrutiny. Derivatives, in particular, complicate the picture. These contracts can be used to hedge risk or speculate, but they often conceal enormous obligations. Some derivatives are so complex that even experienced analysts struggle to calculate exposure accurately. This creates a dangerous blind spot. The danger is clear. Hidden debt doesn't stay hidden forever. Market shocks or investigations can reveal liabilities suddenly, triggering panic. Debt can vanish from official records for several reasons: accounting loopholes, complex derivatives, and cross-border transactions. Corporations often exploit legal gaps to move liabilities off balance sheets into things called special purpose vehicles. Cross-border transactions can be difficult to track, especially when jurisdictions have different standards or weaker regulations. Some debts are deliberately concealed for political or financial advantage. Historical examples include Enron, where liabilities were hidden through complex structures. Ordinary citizens feel the consequences. lost jobs, frozen savings, and government bailouts. The $1 trillion anomaly is a silent threat. While traditional banks operate under strict regulations, shadow banks exist in the gray areas of finance, performing many of the same functions. They perform many functions, lending money, trading securities, but they are not subject to the same oversight. This lack of transparency allows for massive risk. In our next segment, we'll see how these shadow banks amplify the domino effect of hidden debt. Stick around for part 3. Welcome back to our exploration of the $1 trillion anomaly. Today, we're looking at the historical dangers of shadow banking and the complex web of derivatives. During 2007-2008, shadow banking institutions held significant mortgage-backed securities and other derivatives. When housing prices fell, these hidden debts became liabilities overnight. This contributed to the global financial meltdown. Today, shadow banks continue to grow, particularly in emerging markets. While they provide essential credit where traditional banks cannot, their opacity makes them difficult to monitor. Regulators worldwide are struggling to track them. This means the next $1 trillion in hidden debt may already exist, invisible until it triggers a crisis. Understanding derivatives is the key to seeing it. Derivatives are contracts whose value depends on underlying assets, stocks, bonds, or commodities. They are some of the most misunderstood instruments. Used properly, derivatives can hedge risk. A farmer might lock in a price for wheat months before harvest to protect against market fluctuations. However, derivatives can also obscure debt, creating obligations that are difficult to quantify or trace. This was at the heart of the 2008 crisis. Credit default swaps and synthetic instruments hid trillions in potential liabilities, giving investors a false sense of security. Banks appeared solvent, but they weren't. Underneath, unrecognized obligations threatened systemic collapse. The $1 trillion anomaly may reside in these very derivatives today. Complex instruments, traded globally and held off-balance sheet, create a web of hidden debt that even experts struggle to untangle. A single unexpected market event could reveal the extent of these obligations, leading to sudden shocks in interest rates and financial stability. Moreover, derivatives amplify interconnectedness. A failure in one sector can ripple across borders, affecting everyone from governments to households. In other words, hidden debt is not isolated. It's embedded in the fabric of the global financial system. It obscures our economic reality. Money is moving, debts exist, yet the numbers reported publicly may only be the tip of the iceberg. Risk often hides in plain sight. In our final segment, we'll look at why you should care and what we can do to bring this hidden trillion into the light. Don't miss the conclusion. You might wonder, why should you care about a hidden $1 trillion? Most people don't deal with shadow banking directly, but hidden debt affects everyone. Hidden obligations can force sudden changes in interest rates and inflation, affecting your mortgages, loans, and consumer credit. When debts are revealed, governments may need to increase taxes or reduce social programs. Citizens always bear the consequences. Hidden debt can trigger crises affecting employment and retirement savings. The 2008 crisis showed how unrecognized obligations threaten everyone. In today's interconnected world, hidden debt in one country can transmit shocks rapidly across economies, affecting us all. So, what can be done? Solutions exist, but they require coordination, transparency, and above all, vigilance. Shadow banks need oversight comparable to traditional banks. Legal loopholes should be minimized and off-balance sheet obligations monitored. Corporations and governments must adopt clear accounting rules. Complex structures should not hide liabilities from regulators or investors. Global institutions like the IMF and World Bank must collaborate to track cross-border debt and derivatives by sharing critical data. Advanced technology like blockchain and AI analytics can provide real-time tracking, making hidden obligations harder to conceal. Knowledge is power. Understanding how debt works empowers investors and citizens to make informed decisions for their future. The $1 trillion anomaly is more than a curiosity. It's a warning. Global borrowing is rising, meaning hidden debt could grow if left unchecked. But with transparency and vigilance, the risks can be managed. Debt fuels growth, but invisible debt reminds us that knowledge is essential. In finance, as in life, awareness is the first line of defense. Remember, what you don't see can hurt you the most. Thank you for watching.